Closing down your business. Oh, by choice or by circumstance? Both, JG? Are you planning on starting a new business? Did you feel like you just weren't finding the joy enough in what you were doing, that maybe you were making things, like trying to make it work from a place of like fear or panic, or... Oh, okay, so it's just temporarily closed to have 3 months off? Because if so, what a good posse to be in to be able to do that, right? Where are you going? What are you doing for 3 months if that's the case? I'm intrigued. Toyos, not feeling the best. It's been a long time persisting. Well, if you have any questions, Toyos, that I can help with in terms of, you know, the first thing that sort of comes to me comes to mind when I hear this from clients or followers, and obviously, again, as I always say in a live stream, I've got one line of information, so I'll do the best I can. It's exhausting because you're probably thinking about the time too much. You're like looking back and going, I've been doing this for a while. I've been doing this for this amount of time specifically, like, where is it, kind of thing. And that's why I talk about the other things that I talk about, right? Because you hear so much in law of assumption, just affirm and persist, just affirm and persist, just affirm and persist. And look, that's all well and good, but you shouldn't be, like, it should only be as it naturally pops into your mind. And if you're doing the things you enjoy, you're doing the nervous system regulation, you're focusing not just on your self-concept affirmations, but part of your self-concept is just looking after you, doing you, right? Then you won't find that you need to affirm and persist as much, because you'll be feeling good, that the opposing, feeling so good and so much calmer to the point that the opposing thoughts aren't going to pop up pop up as much. So you won't have to sort of persist through as much. The opposing thoughts won't be as prevalent, and it'll be easier to stay on top of your thoughts, and then it'll be like a more enjoyable experience in general. So let me know if I'm on the ball there. I will say I had a client, an ongoing client that I've been helping out for a while, and she's starting to get it, like it's starting to click the things that I'm saying. And so she emailed me recently for one of her emails in her coaching package, and she said, like, told me of all this movement that started happening as soon as she just started going about her routine the way she normally would, instead of trying to make it work with her manifestation, which is what I'm always talking about, right? Just because something or somewhere or someone being somewhere or whatever seems like the logical link to your manifestation, like, don't do it if you feel anxious, but also don't just do it because you think it's the logical link to your manifestation. So be doing you, because things will still cross your path, and in fact they'll probably cross your path in a way that you're like super surprised by, never would have conceived of yourself, like couldn't have contemplated or orchestrated if you were thinking what the like logical path to your manifestation would be in terms of like happening the quickest way. Like, the most efficient path is not usually something anyone can contemplate, and usually we're adding too many stops on our Uber ride to our destination, our manifestation, by trying to do that. Oh, permanent 3 months off, then go look for a job. Hey, I've been there. It wasn't closing a business down so much as leaving a toxic corporate job and like having saved a shitload of money and going, I just need some time to do me and not being run into the ground. And yeah, I took almost a year off. I had enough money for necessity money to take almost a year off. I did start my first business in that time, but I started it thinking that it was like the logical, like I was just saying, way to get where I wanted to be. I wanted to do I am manifestation, but for some reason I had in my mind that a product-based business would be the better starting point, and then I could do I am manifestation. And it just never worked because it didn't line up with the lifestyle I'm manifesting. And I didn't enjoy having to make products and shit when I didn't feel like making products, just like I don't enjoy baking unless I feel like baking, you know? And then, yeah, I just closed it down. I didn't even bother doing a clearance sale. I was just like, this isn't it. I don't even need to do a clearance sale. Like, this isn't it. So hopefully you find the 3 months refreshing. A lot of people, I feel like, in my generation find that, and look, I could be wrong, remember, I'm not a psychic, I'm a conscious manifestation coach, but I think a lot of people in my generation kind of learned from our parents, you know, work hard, work hard, work hard for everything, and then we've found ourselves burnt out. I don't know how my parents are just in a perpetual thing of like working hard. I don't think they've ever taken the time to even acknowledge their exhaustion. But yeah, enjoy it and relish every second. Toyos had a stink day, or a sink day. Sorry, I'm from New Zealand, so like stink is kind of how we would describe something that's crap, like shit. Oh, like that was stink. So I don't know where you are, and I don't know if that's a typo, but if you mean stink day, that makes sense to me. Sink day, do you mean you just got low? Had a few beers at the beach, well needed though. That's fine. One rainy day does not undo a summer. You're exhausted probably because you're focusing too much on the thing you want instead of just doing things like this and enjoying yourself. And then you feel like, oh, I'm taking time off to do me when I should be focusing on the thing that I want. You don't need to be thinking 24/7 about the thing you want. In fact, the more that your mind is convinced that you have it, which is when you're like doing all the things that I tell you to do, nervous system regulation, feel good things, self-concept work, and worry. And again, my version of self-concept is not just I am amazing affirmations, I am chosen, or I am, well, like those affirmations. It's focusing on you. It's not worrying about anything else outside of you. It's just focusing on you. And then dealing with the thoughts of the thing you want as they naturally pop up. Not trying to force them. Or not thinking that if you're not thinking about it, then it's not going to happen. Like, no, that's not how it works. Because the more you're forcing yourself to think it, which is where the routine can really fuck people over, right? Like, it's good to create the habit in the beginning, but if you get into the habit of doing it every day and you assign the meaning to it, which a lot of people do unconsciously, that if they miss a day, that they're not going to get what they want. It's not the routine that's manifesting, it's you. So it's great to create the habit with a routine, but eventually you should get to a point where you're just like, oh, I didn't really think much about the thing I want today, and that's good. And when you're focusing on yourself and the things you enjoy and the nervous system regulation, you've got to remember, guys, nervous system is part of it's linked to your brain. So you can manifest the hard way by waiting for your brain to rewire your nervous system, or you can rewire them both simultaneously, which is the smarter way, in my opinion. I don't know if any of that resonates, Toyos, but I hope it was helpful. As always, you can ask a follow-up question if you like. It's been profitable, just tired of dealing with incompetence. We can always manifest less incompetence, but part of me understands purely from like dealing with people in a corporate setting, not so much. Like, I've been very lucky in this business that I have. I don't know if this light is even bright enough at the moment to do anything. So I get when you're, maybe if you want to start up your new business, it'll be a good fresh start to start with the story of, I only deal with like cool people, as opposed to trying to change your mindset about an existing business that you have a lot of old story about, especially if you've already made the decision to close it down. Joni, he just said he can't come for your birthday tomorrow after he said he was. No, he isn't. He's coming. I don't care. Why the cry face? And if you're saying, well, no, I don't accept that he's coming, I don't care, then why did you bother to take the time to write and essentially affirm that, like, acknowledge the circumstance that you don't want? Also, what's the big deal about the birthday? And look, I'm not trying to be, for me, birthdays aren't the biggest deal, although I feel like in my life that's been more because, like, I haven't made a big deal because I'm worried. I've been worried on a subconscious level that other people won't care about my birthday, and then I'll be disappointed. So I'm like, I just don't make a big deal out of it then. And if anyone else happens to be like, nah, fuck that, let's do something, it's like a bonus. Whereas now I'm at a point where I'm like, I think I'll start doing things for my birthday. You know, I went to Sydney for my birthday this year, spent it with my family. But in the grand scheme of things, him coming to this birthday doesn't matter because he'll be at every other birthday because you're together, right? It's all about reframing it. Like, you can not accept it, but the thing is, it's tomorrow, right? And when you start to put the pressure on the time, whilst you can manifest to a time frame or to a deadline, for most people, the panic of making it happen or the panic of feeling silly if it doesn't happen is actually pushing it away. It's actually making it not happen because you're coming from a place of like fear that it's not going to happen. Does that make sense? Anything done from fear backfires. Yeah, but Joni, yeah, life is too short to not get everything you want, but life is also too short to cry over someone not showing up to one birthday out of all your birthdays. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I hope you're not going to not enjoy your birthday just because one person doesn't show up if he doesn't. Because then that's just manifesting shitty birthdays. So you're going to enjoy yourself because you're going to focus on yourself, right? Because it's about you enjoying yourself. And when you're enjoying yourself, they want to be around you more. When you're not, like if you go and you don't enjoy yourself because they're not there, you're projecting out that they're not there, and also simultaneously that you can't be happy if they're not around. So even if you do manifest them in, that's going to push them away at some point. So there's a lot of self-concept work that needs to be going on there. And in the state, like just with the way you're talking, again, it's text, so I can't really always gauge the tense of it. But I would say that, like, do some breath work, please, or something. Have a cold shower tomorrow morning, or dip your face in ice water. Do some tapping, some sort of nervous system regulation work. Tell yourself that regardless of whether he's there, you're going to enjoy yourself. That's probably, honestly, more likely going to mean that he shows up than you got like affirming all night, losing sleep and being anxious about whether he's going to be there. I hope you get what I mean, Jody. Sorry if that was a bit tough love, but like really think about it. If you're agonizing over it, you're not letting yourself enjoy your birthday, what do you feel like, if you think about it, what was that going to be projecting out? You know I'm talking sense. Don't ruin your birthday for yourself, because him not showing up is not ruining your birthday. He's not ruining your birthday. You're choosing to ruin your birthday if you agonize over it. You got a parking ticket. Oh, that's not ideal. But you can always just be like, oh, they'll let it go. It was a mistake. It was a mistake on their end. Also, I saw something on TikTok. This could be part of the manifestation. I don't know. I saw something on TikTok about if it doesn't say on the ticket that it's a government ticket, you don't have to pay it. You don't have to contact them. They're just scamming you out of money. So double check that. You can't wait to have a rest, JG? Yeah. I know the feels. I've been there. Legend. Hannah, is there a way of proving your self-concept fast? Like I always get my desire fast. Okay. So again, you wanting to do your self-concept should be more for you than to get the thing. Because then you're just doing your self-concept from a place of fear that if you don't do your self-concept, you're not going to get what you want. And when you do things from fear, it backfires. So if that's your motivation behind doing your self-concept work, you're going to just push away the thing that you want further and further out, or create more detours. And honestly, the best way of doing your self-concept fast, regardless of what it is actually to not focus on your desire at all and to just focus on you. That's the fastest way to improve your self-concept. Because when you step away from it and you realize you're not going to die without it, and you start realizing how much more you can enjoy yourself when you're not sitting at home like affirming for it 24/7, that's when you're going to start to see shit flowing. You guys are missing the idea of self-concept. It's about focusing on self. I hope that makes sense. Sorry, I'm a little bit sassy today, but it's just like, I need you guys to understand that if you actually want the thing you want, and you actually want the thing you want to be like sustainable for you to be able to maintain it and hold on to it, you need to do the things I'm talking about. I've got a client, if she's on here, I'm not going to mention your name. And I joke about it to her. I'm like, look, it's great for my business that you keep buying packages to do with me, but you actually need to start doing the things I'm saying and read back over the things that we've it's email, it's in writing, it's there for you to reread, because you're just doing the same things over and over again. And really, I'm not doing my job as a coach if I just keep telling you the same shit over again. I need you to go back over the shit and actually implement the shit that I'm saying. because you're not going to be able to rely on me your whole life. And that's also not the point of what I do. I want you guys to like take your power back. I don't have the power. You emailing me or talking to me on a call isn't making you like a better manifester. You're already a perfect manifester. You just need to change the focus of what you're manifesting. So I'm here with the sass. I'm just warning everyone. I'll never like yell at you or anything because I just don't think like it must work for some people because we obviously all know of the person who's on here who does that and people do get results, but that's not that doesn't work for everyone. For a lot of people, getting kind of attacked makes them shut down. For some people, they like it almost because that's probably the kind of treatment they're probably used to and it feels familiar, and that's why it like sinks in maybe. But that's not my approach. But like I will be straight up with you, and I will sometimes have to dish out some tough love. Toyos. Am I saying? I don't know if I've asked you before, Toyos, if I'm saying, is it Toyos? Because I hate it when I pronounce things wrong. But being someone with a different name, I appreciate people who pronounce things properly, or try at least. So I try to do the same. You feel like persisting is sometimes disengaging from all the actual things that are painful, etc. Sometimes it's hard, especially if you do it for a lengthy period. Yeah. But when you say persisting, are you persisting in the way that I said? Which is like kind of how most people are teaching law of assumption, which is just affirm all the time. Just keep persisting. Just keep being around the things that are making you feel anxious because you think that they're the logical link to your manifestation, and affirm through the anxiety, and affirm through the feeling shitty, and affirm through the shitty behavior of the people around you or the shitty things happening around you. And it's like, that's happening because you're not supposed to be there, because it's not part of it. It's not part of it if you're ever going from a place of fear or anxiety. Now, if before you go to those things or situations or whatever and you're able to calm your nervous system, then it might be okay for you to go. But if you're going from a place of anxiety, the action and the things you say and everything that come from that place that you're in is going to always kind of be out of fear and go like not the ideal way that you want. Like it might not always turn to shit, but it's not always going to go the way you want. So is that what you mean by persisting? Are you kind of doing what most of the people teaching law of assumption are saying to do? Or are you doing the things that I know you've been on here enough to know the things that I say in terms of like focusing on you, self-concept, nervous system regulation. Sorry, my pressure cooker is preparing to pressure cook, and making noises. What was the other thing? And doing things you enjoy. JG, exactly, you need time. You're thinking of having the year off. Look, if you can financially manage it, you know, and even like depending on whether it brings up anxiety for you to think about it, if you don't think you can financially manage it, if you're not anxious about it, it'll work out. But you can decide and know how you're really feeling about it. But yeah, sometimes a year off, like that year for me, as much as I was getting frustrated at the initial business idea that I had and it not working because it wasn't really what I wanted to do and it didn't line up with my lifestyle, oh my god, it like gave me such a taste for the freedom that I know I want, and just confirmed for me like, yeah, this is like not necessarily doing, like I wasn't doing nothing, but I was relaxing a lot, right? And just like knowing I don't have to be up by a certain time or whatever, like it was such bliss. And like even with my business now, like for those who don't know, I still work a part-time job that like pays for my necessities at the moment, just because I know me, that if building my business before it actually is making enough to have saved like 6 months of necessity money and is consistently making enough on top of that to pay for my necessities, if I weren't working a part-time job that covered my necessities, I know me personally that I'd be like in a bit of panic mode about like making it work, which I know would backfire. So I choose to do the part-time job. And honestly, like it's, as far as working for someone else, like the time away from working for someone else made me really clear on what I wanted if it meant going back to working for someone else, and I've got all of that. I don't think I've oops, I forgot to put my phone on. I forgot to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. What was I going to say? I haven't done a video on it yet, but I am going to do a video on it, like how I manifested my part-time job. But like even on the days where I'm like supposed to be working on my business, sometimes if I don't feel inspired, I don't force myself. If I happen to not like have the full day booked out with bookings or something lined up for my business, I don't get annoyed about it and be like, oh, my business isn't blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yeah, cool. I get to enjoy the freedom that I'm manifesting with my business now, you know? So, if you can manage it, fucking enjoy it, eh? Like, it really puts into perspective, like, you get a taste of all the things that you didn't know you could have, and when you realize, well, I've just made that work for 3 months or a year, whatever it is, so why can't I make that work more consistently? And then the idea of going back to working Monday to Friday for someone and spending so much of your life, such a high percentage of your life making money for someone else, it's hard. Resilience is not a thing anymore. I think as well, like the fact that there are just so many more options for people to do something else really opens things up for people, makes people realize that like anyone can have a business. Not that I'm saying everyone has to, like you can totally have a job that you enjoy. Like I said, as far as working for someone else, I'm in the best job I've ever had, like in that sense. But yeah, I think like there's the ability to do your own thing is so much easier, so much more widely available, but also it's so much more in your face that it's possible because of social media. Like, you know, there's positives and negatives to social media, but there's so many like examples of people who used to like work in corporate or, you know, maybe came from the same background as you or whatever it was that was a limiting belief in the past that's now like, oh, someone that I can relate to or that comes from the same background and culture or religion or experiences me is now doing this. So like I don't have to do what I've been doing forever, you know? And I think that's really awesome. Oh, thank you. That's very kind of you to say. Alicia, you've settled down so much you feel like you're dead inside. I know you're joking, but the phrasing, bloody hell. But I know what you mean though, like, because I think when you first came across my stuff, maybe you were a bit more like elevated, and now you're kind of, hopefully it's because you've implemented the things I suggest, or maybe you just kind of got to a similar point to me where you like got burnt out and had no choice but to step back a little bit and then realize like, oh, things are happening now that I'm not agonizing over them. I don't know which one it was, let me know. But now I know from a lot of things you've commented on my videos that you're in a much calmer place and things are flowing, which is awesome. So what do I do to pay the bills? It doesn't just pay, like I work 3 days a week, 2 days in the office, which if I'm not feeling it or I need to sleep in one morning or whatever, I just tell my boss like I'm working from home today. He's like so chill. But I like to go in because I like the interaction with like I work with cool people as well, you know. But it also has, so quick rundown, worked in corporate, got burnt out, took on another full-time corporate role, was meant to be cruisy and 5K more than what I was making, and it started off that way, but I think I had this thing of like, as long as I'm working for someone else, it's going to be shit. They can always change my role on me, even though I signed a contract for this particular role, or give me ad hoc tasks that are like 10 times the work that my contract laid out for me, or whatever it was, position description. And so that job, when it that must not be named, that affected the whole world, happened, became just as busy as my previous job, and I got burnt out again. And so I saved a shitload of money through all the lockdowns and everything in Melbourne, and I was like, I'm going to take a year off, I'm going to start my first business, I'm just going to take the plunge and start a business, because I believe I can do that now. You know, I'd done enough work to just be like, yeah, I can do that, you know. So I did that, but then that business, because it wasn't in line with the lifestyle I wanted, which was like to be able to work anywhere from a laptop and a phone, and, you know, opportunities for like passive income. And, I mean, I felt like it was helping in the sense that it was like plastic free, it was all natural, but I didn't really want to have to always make the stuff, especially if I didn't feel like it. I didn't want to have to organize for people to do things for me when I decided to take time off. I wanted to be able to leave to go away for a weekend at the drop of a hat or whatever, and just know that I can like take my laptop with me and it's fine. You know, this had like clutter all in my home, and I had to like buy a lot of stuff up front. I basically was able to start I Am Manifestation with very little money, you know. So I spent like hundreds and hundreds and probably a few $1,000s in the end on trying to set it up, but also like panic buying, because I was like, this isn't working, and it wasn't working because it wasn't what I wanted, and it wasn't in line with my manifestation of my lifestyle. So I didn't even bother with a clearance sale. I was just like, I've tried to make this work for almost a year. My savings are dwindling. So if because I know me and I know that I'll panic again if I just start I Am Manifestation and put the pressure on it to like be where I need it to be to cover everything in a couple of months, I'm going to push it away because I'll be acting from fear. So I'm going to apply for a job. But since I'm going to be working for someone else, I'm not going to fall into the old story of as long as I'm working for someone else, it's going to be shit. It's going to be this. They're going to, you know, change my position on me or whatever. And I used to work in recruitment, not as a recruiter, in admin, and then as a office manager for most of that time. And then I left recruitment with the job after that. And I was like, okay, I'm looking for a job. I don't want to work in recruitment again. It was toxic for me. I don't know what anyone else's experience has been if they've worked in recruitment, but like big agency recruitment, very toxic, very manipulative. Yeah, just awful. And if you're an admin, you're not a revenue making member of the company, so people can treat you like shit. And as long as they're making money for the company, they're Teflon. So I was like, I'm not even going to look at recruitment jobs, and these are the things I want. Part-time, I can choose my days, cool people, covers my necessities and gives me a bit of spending money, because if I happen to have a quiet week on my business, I don't want to panic and feel like I can't live my life. Doesn't burn me out or make me too tired that I can't do the things that over that year where I wasn't burnt out anymore, was recovering from burnout. I'd started implementing things like, you know, playing touch more and stuff like that. For those who don't know, I play touch and touch rugby. Yeah, like all those things. And I just wasn't panicked about it. And I had a couple of months and I was like, I'm just not going to accept anything that doesn't feel like it's in line with any of that stuff. And I actually got headhunted for the first time in my life by my manager. And it was a recruitment job, which means I would not have seen it if I was looking at job ads. I wouldn't have even opened the job ad, right? And he said all the things that I wanted. And I was like, look, I was blunt as fuck with him. I was like, look, to be perfectly honest with you, like, I don't want to work in recruitment. I vowed, I was just like, I'm not even looking at recruitment jobs. And he was like, look, totally get it. We've all worked in big agency recruitment. We all like want to stay away from that. He's like, I don't run this place like that, blah, blah, blah. I was like, all right, saying all the right things. I'll come and interview. And I could tell he was pretty keen from our conversation on me in like a professional manner. Straight away, I went, and the interview went really well with him, but he wanted me to meet the team, and he was like, look, I'll probably get in touch with you next week to meet the team, but to make it fair for all the other applicants, you won't hear from me till then, but like this has gone well as far as I'm concerned. I'm like, yep, no worries. And he called me that very afternoon of our first interview and was like, look, I'm keen to get you in to meet the team. I know I haven't interviewed the other people yet, but blah, 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 you know, I think you'll be a really good match for the office. And I was like, yeah, cool. So it all went really fast. And then recently, for those who don't know, and I have got a video on this, I manifested a pay rise. For those who live in Australia would know that a 1 to 3% pay rise is the usual, like, expectation for a pay rise. I got a 10% pay rise. At a time like this where everyone's panicking about money, which is why I'm saying stop fucking watching the news. Okay? So now I have, you know, yeah, more money than what covers my necessities, plenty of pay money, my savings are going up. My food bill's gone down, even though I'm buying like more expensive food, like, you know, example from free range to pasture raised and organic eggs, grass fed meat instead of standard meat. So I work in recruitment, as to answer your question, part-time, small like boutique agency. And yeah, it doesn't just pay the bills, it gives me some play money as well. So I'm so chill about building my business, and it's good because like it's getting to the point where it is being more consistent now and things like that, and I'm not panicked. And like I said, because I'm not panicked on the days where it might be a quieter day, I'm like, cool, I get to do whatever the fuck I want with my day then. Awesome. Like I've been going to Cheap Ass Tuesdays at the movies with my friend who had been out of work for a couple of weeks, and it's just been cool. I can do whatever I want with my time. JG. Thank you, that's very kind. Yeah, look, I have a conscience, I can tell you that much. Like, I'm certainly not on here trying to fuck people over. But, you know, I'll also be honest with you that, like, yes, you can manifest everything, but you have to be checking in with yourself. If you're coming from a place of anxiety and fear, it's okay to have a job while you're manifesting a successful business. It's okay to do things in the meantime. You know, you don't have to jump in head first and, like, and be like, it's going to work because it has to work, because that's, for a lot of people, going to fuck them around.